On Sunday, the San Francisco 49ers absolutely crushed the Jets. In fact, take a look at the scoreboard right here. 14 minutes, 55 seconds. We're 5 seconds into the game. And remember that, because that is the last time the Jets will be tied with the 49ers in this game. And check out this first play already. The blocking is so good that this linebacker is the only Jet that has a chance of catching Raheem Mostert. But Mostert is so fast, he simply runs away from him and the rest of the Jets defense. And just like that, the Niners lead 7-0. Now we're going to take a look at this blocking. This is just so beautiful. The entire team moving together, hat on a hat. And that's not just any linebacker he runs away from. That's Alec Ogletree. But Raheem Mostert is the fastest player in the game. All right, let's move on to the next possession. Here we can see that all the receivers for the 49ers are covered. And Garoppolo goes down. That's called a coverage sack. Now we're going to look at this from the other angle because something very important happened on this play. Okay, right here Garoppolo goes down. And you can see that the defender took him down by the ankle. Garoppolo would end up having a high ankle sprain and end up having to leave this game. Now, when you're a defender that's on the ground, you're not allowed to make a low tackle on the quarterback. That's first and foremost. But number two, Garoppolo is already down there, and you can actually see the official getting ready to blow the play dead. But when he's doing so, another player for the Jets comes in and hits Garoppolo again anyway. So there actually should have been 2 penalties called on this play. One during the play for 15 yards, unnecessary roughness, and then one after the play for a late hit. And that would have given the 49ers 30 yards in field position, and Kyle Shanahan mentioned this after the game. Instead, the officials didn't call any penalties, and the 49ers would have to punt. Now here Frank Gore carries the ball for a nice 4 or 5 yard gain, and 49er fans are used to seeing that. But unfortunately, disaster would strike on this play as well. Now watch the defensive end, Nick Bosa here. Now he gets stood up and his legs kind of pop when they get caught in the turf, and that is a torn ACL. Disastrous news for the 49ers. He's going to be out for the season. Now, a brand new field turf had just been installed at MetLife Stadium, and there's some talk that maybe it had not been broken in properly, or that, maybe it's something, there's another issue with it that we don't know about. The NFL is currently investigating that due to the high number of injuries in this game. That's in the short term. In the long term, what do these injuries mean for the 49ers prospects this season? We're going to talk about that at the end of the video. For now, let's move on to the next play. Oh my goodness, Raheem Mostert does it again. He takes it the distance again. But we're going backwards here because unfortunately for the 49ers, this play never happened. It was called back due to a penalty, so let's take a look at it. Here we see Mike McGlinchey is going to hold the Jet defender. And when we take a look at it, it looks like if he doesn't hold him there, wow, maybe he does have a shot at tackling Raheem Mostert. Maybe he doesn't. We all know how fast Mostert is, but I think that's a fair call and the right call. So now the 49ers would have to back up, and they're facing a 2nd down and 16. Now notice Tevin Coleman here. He's running a pattern, and he hasn't even started his break yet, but Garoppolo has already started his throwing motion. And that is the big difference between Garoppolo this week and Garoppolo in week 1. Is this week the timing was there, and he was much more decisive. He made the correct reads and was just on it, and his timing was perfect. Excellent ball location, and we're going to see what a great catch this was by Coleman. Great throw, great catch, the defender all over him, and the Niners pick up a first down. Okay, same drive. Now they're facing a third down, 3rd and 6. And last week, the 49ers were terrible on third down. And that came as a real shock to those of us who follow the team, because we all know how good they were last year on third down. And to make matters worse, it looks like all the 49er wide receivers are covered here, except for one. Hard to tell who that is, but I think it's Trent Taylor. Anyway, it looks like he may be coming open a little bit, but it's a good thing that Garoppolo does not throw this ball, because if we go forward just a little, we see that the defender very shrewdly is already sliding back to pick that ball off if Garoppolo throws it. The pocket begins to break down, so Garoppolo has to scramble. Now, one thing the defender did do by sliding back is leave his coverage of Kendrick Bourne. And Bourne says, fine, I'll take the space that the defense leaves behind. And takes a minute, but Garoppolo sees him and fires the ball out to him. And by that time, Brandon Ayuk, who's also running a scramble drill, runs into the play and gets right in front of Bourne and makes the catch. Great catch by Ayuk, and great job by Bourne of kind of getting out of the way. It really reminds me of like when two outfielders kind of go for the same ball, and they just have that chemistry. Now, why did it take Garoppolo a moment to find him? Well, watch this. I want you to look at Jimmy Garoppolo's head here. He's still going through progressions as he's scrambling down the field. That's pretty impressive. And look at the accuracy of that throw with the defender all over him. And great catch by Ayuk, too. This is a great play, and the 49ers would convert, and they did much better on third down in this game. In fact, let's look at a 3rd and 9. It's the same drive, but now we're in the second quarter, so the teams have switched sides. Okay, check out this defender. Watch how he bumps the receiver as he runs by. He does just enough to disrupt that play that Garoppolo decides to move on to his next read. He looks over in the middle to Trent Taylor, but he's covered. And then finally he comes down to Jordan Reed, who's wide open. Nice catch. Now, let's go back and take a look at how Reed got open. Here we see he gives the defender just a little bit of a move to the outside, and the defender's already heading in that direction anyway. When he does, Jordan Reed just turns back to the middle of the field and catches a pass. Now notice he's way past the first down marker here. From this angle, we're going to get a great look at Garoppolo going through his progressions. He looks over to the right. That play's been disrupted. He resets his feet, makes his next read to Trent Taylor. He's covered. Resets his feet again, looks over to Jordan Reed. The pass protection is really what made that play work. Now, Reed got the first down by 2 or 3 yards. Look at all the Jet defenders holding their fist in the air like it's 4th down. Makes you wonder what the heck they're looking at. So far, this has been a really nice drive, and now the 49ers are in the red zone. And they put a man in motion. The defender goes with him. This tells you right away that it's probably man coverage. And now, it's time for the 49ers to disrupt the Jets' defense a little bit. Here we see Taylor is just going to run his route right through these 2 defenders. That disrupts him just enough so Jordan Reed can cut out to the flat and catch the ball and then hopefully use his athleticism to gain the first down. Now, when you may remember back when we did the Alex Smith video a few weeks ago, we talked about Jordan Reed's athleticism in that video. Let's go back and take a look. Here we see Reed has to make a very difficult catch and then turn his body and get that ball across the goal line. Very impressive, but That was a couple years ago. In fact, he didn't even play at all last year. Would he have enough athleticism to get the first down on this play? Not only does he get the first down, he scores a touchdown. Great play by Jordan Reed. Wow. Welcome back. Let's go back to the snap. The Jets are getting a little tired of Garoppolo picking them apart, and they send a blitz here. In fact, they send 2 extra defenders. They rush 6 men on this play. But the pass protection is outstanding, and Garoppolo is quick and decisive, gets that ball out of his hands and makes a good throw. The pass rush never had a chance. And for those of you who have had a high ankle sprain, you know how painful it is. It's a very painful injury. So for Garoppolo to execute at this level throughout the game like this is very, very impressive. Now there's one more thing I want to show you on this play. You may remember from last week's video when we looked at a play where the 49ers didn't block downfield, specifically Dante Pettis, and as a result, McKinnon, who was streaking towards the end zone, got stopped at the 1-yard line. And on the next play, he was actually stuffed and the 49ers turned the ball over on downs. That was a big deal. But watch Trent Taylor here. He throws that one last block that springs Jordan Reed. Look at that. Just enough so that Reed can score the touchdown. Outstanding. Here, Frank Gore has a really nice run for the Jets. Now I want you to watch the 49ers safety on this play, Jaquiski Tartt. Gore makes a safety miss as he's done so many times over the course of his career. Don't feel bad, Tartt. You're not the first, and you won't be the last. Here we see Armstead trying to just get an arm tackle on him. We already know that's not going to work on Frank Gore. And in honor of the late, great Gale Sayers, we'll just say, give Gore 18 inches of daylight. That's all he needs. Now the Jets would go on a long drive, but would end up turning the ball over on downs, and the 49ers would get the ball back. And when you get the ball off of a turnover like that, it's a good time to take a shot. And here, Garoppolo throws a really, really nice pass to Kendrick Bourne. Hits Bourne in the hands. He can't come up with the catch. I don't really fault him for that. The defender was all over him. And one thing is clear, the 49ers do seem to be missing a little bit of speed on the outside. It was there. But they missed it, so got to move on to the next play. 3rd and 3 now. Right away, we see Kendrick Bourne is going deep. Looks like the 49ers are running the exact same play again, and the defender has to go with him. As soon as he does, though, this time Bourne cuts his route off, turns around, and gets ready to catch a pass. Couple things to notice here. First, Bourne is not even out of his break yet, and Garoppolo is already throwing the football. The timing is much better this week. And second, watch Garoppolo on this play. He shows a lot of toughness standing in the pocket and taking a hit, steps into that throw, takes the hit, and delivers the football. And Bourne makes the defender pay and gains 18 yards on the play. The 49ers are really clicking here. Now on this play too, the Jets again send a blitz. But watch Tevin Coleman pick up the extra rusher. Now watch this move by Kendrick Bourne. Whoop! Jets defense is getting worked over. Let's check out what they're doing here on the goal line. The Niners send a man in motion on this play, and again a defender goes with him. Probably man-to-man. Jordan Reed knows he's going to be one-on-one, and he's just going to make a little move and kind of body up against the defender. And this is helped by the fact that the Jets decide to send an all-out blitz here. And that makes it a real easy read for Garoppolo. Just throw it to your big tight end. And Reed makes a terrific hands catch and gets into the end zone. Niners go up big. So big, in fact, they feel comfortable pulling Garoppolo after this play, rather than risk further injury playing on that high ankle sprain. Jimmy would finish the day completing 14 of 16 passes. That's 87%. He threw 2 touchdowns, and his quarterback rating in the half was 140.4. Outstanding work. So, the Niners in the second half would turn to Nick Mullins. And you got to remember, Nick Mullins has not been taking the first team reps. And he didn't play all season last year. He hasn't played in over a year. So he was a little rusty. And on this first possession in the third quarter, he had a fumble, and the Niners got way behind in the down and distance. And here, they are facing a massive 3rd down and 31. And it's pretty clear what the strategy is going to be here. Let's just hand the ball off to Jerick McKinnon, get some better field position for our punter, and then we'll try again on the next series. But watch this defender here for the Jets. He wildly overruns the play, and McKinnon cuts back and goes for 55 yards on the play, and the 49ers get a first down. Wow, what are the Jets doing? There's more to defense than just hitting the quarterback late, you know? Well, let's go back to the snap and see if we can figure it out. First thing we notice is that everybody on the 49ers is moving to their right, and the Jets defense reacts that way as well. Naturally, McKinnon's going to cut it back the other way, and when he does, we see the defender, the corner, running in late, and there was really no reason to do this. The Jets already had a couple of guys that were going to pursue. And yes, McKinnon would have gained some yardage on this play. I don't think he would have gained 31 yards. And this just reminds me so much of when, kids play, because kids will all run towards the ball, and then a good ball carrier can just cut back against him and gain a lot of yards. And that's exactly what happens here. He ran so far, he got tired at the end of that run. Wow. Now, one thing about Nick Mullins when he played a couple years ago was he didn't really have the arm strength that we're used to seeing in the NFL. I tend to be a big believer in the philosophy that you don't need a strong arm at all, really, to play in the NFL. We've seen plenty of guys that don't have a good arm play for a long time. And then you see guys with super strong arms that come in and they're awful. So in my opinion, it really doesn't have so much to do with arm strength. But there's been some questions about whether he can throw outside the numbers and things like that. But check out the bullet he throws to Kendrick Bourne here. Makes you wonder if he's been working on that arm strength a little bit. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. He works on all the other aspects of his game, so why not work on that too? He guns it, and he had a couple of those throws during this game. Now, we all remember a couple years ago when he had to come in a very difficult situation, and he was very effective, and that was such a breath of fresh air. But here he makes a pretty bad play and throws an interception in enemy territory. Let's go back to the snap and see if we can figure out what happened. Here, Mike McGlinchey gets beat on the bull rush, and Mullins tries to get the ball out of there. He ends up throwing a bad pass high and behind the wide receiver. Now, like I said, this week he had a chance to shake that rust off from not playing for a year. He'll be getting the first team reps in practice all week, and I expect him to play better against the New York Giants. Now, one thing I'll say about Nick is he's a gamer, and he's just going to come right back. And here, the Niners execute a run fake. And to sell the fake, the entire offensive line moves like they're run blocking, and the defense falls for it. And it leaves this big zone behind them that's empty, and Kendrick Bourne runs in to take the space the defense left behind. And here we see another nice throw from Nick Mullins. And here, the 49ers put the exclamation mark on this game when a lot of the Jets get off their blocks and Jerick McKinnon outruns pretty much the entire team. And with that, the blowout is complete. Now, guys, like I said, Nick Mullins played well enough. He didn't get the first team reps throughout the week. He hasn't played in over a year. Both those things are going to be different next week against the Giants. So I'm really not too worried about him. So the question about the 49ers prospects moving forward really kind of boiled down, in my opinion, to one person, and that is Nick Bosa. Are the 49ers a Super Bowl contender without Nick Bosa? That's a really tough question. I think they're always going to be in the mix because they have Jimmy Garoppolo. Are they a Super Bowl contender? I think they'll make the playoffs for sure. They've definitely shown that the rest of the team can just keep rolling. You know, they had a lot of key injuries today. They didn't have George Kittle. They were missing Raheem Mostert for the second half of the game. And they got big performances out of guys like Jerick McKinnon and Jordan Reed. So, yeah, I think anything's possible. Super Bowl favorites, I think when you look at Super Bowl favorites in the NFC, really, there's three teams we got to talk about. Number one, I think the team just playing the best right now, period, is the Green Bay Packers. I don't think anybody would argue with that. They look great on offense and defense, and the first 2 weeks of the season, they were getting it done. But San Francisco is a bad matchup for Green Bay. The next team would be the New Orleans Saints, who seem to have the most well-rounded roster on paper. But I don't know what happened Monday night because they got dominated by the Raiders, absolutely dominated. And finally, I think up in Seattle, they've really gotten that offense to where they've felt it could be for the last few years. Russell Wilson looks amazing, looks like he could possibly have an MVP season. But that defense is horrible. They're giving up a ton of yards, and they don't look like they're going to be able to stop anybody. So I would say those three teams are the clear Super Bowl favorites in the NFC, but all three of them have flaws. And one important thing to remember is that the 49ers beat all three of those teams last year. I want to thank all my new subscribers. You guys are absolutely great. Obviously, it takes a long time to make a video like this. If you could take just 10 seconds and hit that like, I would really appreciate it. Next week's going to be a great game against the New York Giants. We're all looking forward to watching it. And after that game, you know, we're going to break it down and take a look at everything that happened, and I will see you guys then.